Welcome back to the next series of videos where we're going to look at the key knowledge of fitness training principles, which include intensity, frequency, overload, specificity, individuality, diminishing returns, variety, maintenance, and detraining. Once again, we are looking at the 6 steps to developing a successful training program. Today we are looking at step 4, training program setup, where we create a periodized program utilizing the training principles of intensity, duration, frequency, progressive overload, and specificity. In order to make the most out of any training program, it is important that it is well designed and that it follows the basic principles of periodization. In simple terms, periodization as it applies to training refers to the division of a training program covering a 12-month period into shorter phases of training. An individual looking to plan a training program around a regular physical activity will appreciate that there are different types of effort required depending on the time of year for which the training is being undertaken, for example during the pre-season, competition, or post-season. With each phase or period, the athlete aims to accomplish certain goals. Typically, an extended training program may be divided into 3 phases or periods. 1. The preparatory phase or pre-season. 2. The competition phase or in-season. And 3. The transition phase or the off-season. The preparatory phase of training usually lasts 2 to 4 months. In this phase of training, the major objective is to provide a suitable fitness and skill base for the competition phase. The preparatory phase can be further divided into 2 sub-phases. The general preparatory phase. This sub-phase is concerned with obtaining a general fitness base and developing the main physiological requirements of the athlete's sport. The emphasis is placed on maximizing the capabilities of the relevant energy systems, particularly the aerobic energy system. Fitness testing and specific skill correction are also a common focus of this period of training. The volume of training is usually high, but the intensity is low to begin with, slowly increasing to medium intensity. This subphase usually lasts 4 to 10 weeks. The specific preparatory phase. As the competition phase approaches, there is a shift in training towards more specific game-related training. There should be a gradual reduction in the volume of training as the intensity increases. This subphase usually lasts 2 to 6 weeks. Competition or the in-season phase. By the time the competition phase of training begins, the athlete should have achieved optimal fitness and skill levels. This phase will usually last 4 to 6 months. The emphasis of this phase of training should be on maintaining these attributes and further developing and refining strategies, tactics, and game plans. Because of the demands of competition, particularly if games are weekly, as in the case with many sports such as football, basketball, and netball, training needs to be planned carefully. This is to allow for the recovery and to ensure that the players are fresh on game day. Training sessions in the day or two after competition should allow for recovery. Subsequent sessions early in the week should be relatively longer and/or more intense. Sessions towards the end of the week should be shorter and less intense so that players are fully recovered by the day of the competition. The transition or off-season phase. The transition phase is designed to provide the athlete with both a physiological and psychological respite from the rigors of competition training. This phase will usually last 6 to 12 weeks. This phase should begin with a short period of active rest and little formal training. Thereafter, the aim during this phase should be for the athlete to remain reasonably active through involvement in a range of recreational activities and low-intensive training to maintain a suitable level of fitness. The athlete's diet should be carefully monitored during this period of time. That concludes this first video. However, on this video we have also attached some questions in relation to it. So we're starting off with, do you know the content? What I recommend is that you actually go through and pause the video to try and answer each of these questions. Question number 1, define the term preparatory phase of training and what is the average length of this phase? Question 2, define the term competitive phase of training and what is the average length of this phase? Question 3, define the term transition phase of training and what is the average length of this phase? Next, do you understand the content? Question number 4, explain the reasons for the two divisions of the preparatory phase of training. Question 5, once the competition season arrives, how does the emphasis shift during training sessions? Question 6, examine how the weekly training cycle changes during the week between competition efforts. The next set of questions, can you apply the content? Question 7, what body systems are the focus of the preparatory phase of training? Why? Question 8, what training methods would suit the transition phase of training? Why? Next lot of questions are there to extend you. Question 9. Consider your chosen sport in which you have completed a data analysis. Choose an important event for that sport and write a 12-month annual plan. This will formulate part of your training program for the next SAC. Include all phases and sub-phases. You might want to contact your teacher to get some assistance with this one.